Hey guys, welcome back to a new video by Biology with Zhang Xuan. So today we are going to do the Cambridge IGCSE Biology Paper 2 Multiple Choice Extended, the 0610/21, the May-June 2024 series. So if there are any questions or are there any errors in the MCQ which I did, please feel free to comment down in the comment section below. I will definitely try my best to reduce the mistakes possible and answer your relevant questions needed. So let's start. Question 1. A person touches a hot object and rapidly moves their hand away from the hot object. So which characteristics of living organism this is an example of? So the key word to tell you is that it touches the hot object and rapidly moves their hand away. So this is a known of reflex. So reflex is how quick you respond to a particular stimulus that causes your body to either felt that it's a danger or sometimes it could be just a normal thing. But in this case, it's a danger because hot surfaces are potentially painful. So this is a known of sensitivity. Okay, so this is a very simple first question. Just link your understanding to the Mrs. Grant. Okay, so question number 2. Which type of organisms are used in genetic modification because they have plasmids? So plasmids is a circular ring that is found in organism that they usually take out very easily to edit the plasmid to get something new, to insert something. So this one is only happening in bacteria. So how can you know that it is bacteria? It's because that all of these arachnids, myriapods, ferns, they are all eukaryotes. So eukaryotes, they are more complex and they take a very long time to replicate, in the sense that it needs a longer time to generate or divide into many more of the same organism. While for bacteria, it's a prokaryote. They do not have a nucleus, and then a lot of things in their organelles are much more simple, and their overall structure is also very simple. So therefore, they only take a very little time to replicate. So replication is very important in genetic modification. You want to have the highest yield of that specific trait or specific gene that you want to be inside the plasmid. Okay. So question number 3. The list shows some of the structures contained in cells. So we have cytoplasm, cell membrane, cell wall, and chloroplast. How many of these structures are found in the cells of all living organisms? So it's only 2. Okay, animal or plant cells. So question 4. A student draws a red blood cell. Okay, the diameter of the red blood cell is 20 millimeters. The actual diameter of the red blood cell is 0.008. What is the magnification of the student's drawing? So you need to use the magnification formula. Okay. So what is the magnification formula? Every time in any of my past paper video, I always love to use the formula triangle. So I M. So in this case, it's I divided by A. So you can find out the answer is actually the way how you're going to solve this now is by since it's the same unit, you don't have to change it to micrometers, but if you want, it's still possible. So you just use 20 divided by 0.008. So your answer you get is 2500 magnification. So the answer is D. So question 5. Samples of the plant cells of the same species are immersed in 3 different liquids. The low concentration sucrose solution has higher water potential than the plant cell cytoplasm. The high concentration sucrose solution has a lower water potential than the plant cell cytoplasm. So what is the state of the cells in different liquids? So if they distill water, this is for plant cell. Plant cell, they have the main thing is their cell wall. Their cell wall helps to withstand pressure. So distilled water, when you have more water rushing into the plant cell, it won't burst the plant cell. it will become turgid. Okay, so turgid is your first answer. Now, they have asked you for low concentration of sucrose solution. Low concentration solution means that outside, meaning the solution itself, has higher water potential. And in order for water to enter, it has to enter by osmosis from higher water potential to low water potential. So going into the plant cell, there will be more water entering. So it will become turgid, same as distilled water. Now, for high concentration sucrose solution, it means that the solution itself has more solutes than water. So this has lower water potential. So lower water potential will cause the plant cell, which has much higher water potential, to move out of the plant cell and they become plasmolysed. Alright, so the answer is D. Question 6. Which process requires energy for respiration? So the answer is A. Active transport. Question 7. The diagram shows the sticky ends of the DNA of the plasmid has been cut by a restriction enzyme. The unpaired bases are labeled. What is the correct sequence of the missing bases? So this is the DNA, so you know that A will go to T and C will go to G. So C, you just fill in one by one, G, T, C, A, C. So you just find G, T, C, A, C. So the answer is C. So question number 8. A test was performed on a food substance. A positive result was shown by a color change to blue-black. So what solution was used for the test? So you can see that the positive result they have given you is blue-black. So the answer for this one is iodine solution. Okay. So the question number 8 answer is C. Question 9. A student investigates the breakdown of fats in milk by lipase. 4 test tubes labeled A, B, C, and D are set up. In which tube will the contents become acidic most quickly? Okay, so this is a slightly tricky question, but I think it should be very easy. So they say that it becomes more acidic easily. So milk must be present, bile must be present because there is fats. So you have to emulsify them first. You cannot use boiled lipase because boiled lipase has already denatured. So denatured one, their enzymes are not functional at all. Lipases, yes, because you need lipase to break down the fats into fatty acids too and glycerol. So the answer is A. Question 10. The diagram shows an experiment to investigate the effect of increasing light intensity on the rate of photosynthesis in an aquatic plant. The rate is found in measuring the rate of bubble release by the plant. As the light intensity increases, the rate of bubble release increases and then becomes constant. So from this paragraph here, you can deduce the graph already. So the graph, we have light intensity and rate of photosynthesis. You can see it is like this. Okay, so which statement describes why the rate of bubble release becomes constant at higher light intensity? So they are talking about this section B, okay, which has becomes constant. So let's see the answers we have here. So they say that carbon dioxide concentration becomes a limiting factor. Maybe. Let's put here. Light intensity becomes a limiting factor. No. Remember that in if you watch any of my lesson videos, right? When you're in section B, right, or the graph part B, the x-axis will never become the what again? It will never become the limiting factor again. It's ruled out by other limiting factors. So here, right, from here onwards, is by other limiting factors other than light intensity for this graph lah. Okay, oxygen available becomes a limiting factor. No. And water availability becomes a limiting factor. No, because it's still enough, it's still sufficient. And water and oxygen is considered to be very little. It has little effect on the rate of photosynthesis. The major one is more of carbon dioxide concentration, temperature, and also light intensity. So the correct answer is A. Question 11. The diagram shows a section through the leaf of a flowering plant. Where does photosynthesis take place? So for photosynthesis must take place at the mesophyll cell. So there are two mesophyll cells that we know. This one is the first one, palisade mesophyll cell, and then we have our spongy mesophyll cell. You can just basically see like which cell has the most chloroplast. So you can deduce by most chloroplast. Okay, so the answer is 1 and 4. Question 12. The diagram shows part of the alimentary canal and associated organs. Which labeled part stores bile? Okay, so the answer is C. Okay, so this one you also have to remember, this is the gallbladder. So question 13, the list contains statements about villi. So let's check everyone. So villi increases the efficiency of the absorption of nutrients. That's correct. Villi increases the efficiency of alveoli during gas exchange. This is wrong. Villi provides a large surface area. Yes. Villi filters urea from the blood. No, this one is by the kind of glomerulus. Feels like the glomerulus, this one, but the answer is 1 and 3. If you are saying that why, yeah, so this is only the correct answer that I can tell you. 1 and 3 sounds the most correct, because number 3 is because there's a lot of microvilli, then it increases the surface area. Okay. So question 14. The diagram shows the carbohydrate molecules as they pass through the alimentary canal. Which row represents the molecules correctly? So you must always remember that whatever that you eat, right, the stuff like bread, rice, they are all in very complex carbohydrates at first. It means their molecules are very long in a sense. So you can see that A, B, C, the first one is correct before taking into mouth because it's long chains of carbohydrate. After some time in the mouth, they start to break down a little bit. Okay, but they do not break down a lot because it's still almost the same. So it has to become smaller. It cannot remain the same all the while long. So this is also incorrect. Then later on, after some time in the intestine, they will start to again break down the sugar molecule to even a smaller form, which is glucose. So glucose is in one single molecule like that. So the answer is B. So if there are any questions for this, feel free to ask in the comment section below. So question 15. Which row shows correct information about the 3 digestive enzymes in humans? So lipase, okay, let's kind of like read through. So maltase, we see maltase first. Maltase, they act in the small intestine, so this one is correct. Trypsin also acts in the alkaline condition, so this one is correct because acidic is wrong. It's not really secreted in the mouth, not in alkaline condition. Acts in the stomach, not really. So and then most likely that lipase is also acting in the small intestine also. So the answer is D. Question 16. Which substance found a healthy diet helps to prevent constipation? So constipation is a key to which kind of like mineral, not to say mineral, which micronutrient? The answer is fiber. Okay. Question 17. When is the transpiration rate of a well-watered plant highest? Okay, so this one they are gonna trick you a little bit. It's kind of to tell you that transpiration rate is at the highest. So it means that the plant itself, right, has a lot of water. And now they are trying to tell you that what are the suitable conditions needed to allow water to leave the plant. Okay, so on a cool, dry, windy day, this one considered to be strong, but then not so. Okay, on a cool, wet, windy day, no, because if it's wet, moisture will prevent prevent from actually coming in and coming out, it plays a significant role in the concentration, in the water potential a little bit. On a hot, dry, windy day, yes, because hot, right, the temperature goes up, more water will be moving out the stomata. And dry, when the atmosphere is really dry, inside the water potential is significantly higher, then it moves out from the stomata. Windy day, it blows the moisture from the plant away. So you can see that this is how to how we can determine that this is the highest transpiration rate possible. So the answer is C. Question 18. Which statement is correct of a flowering plant during photosynthesis? So the flowers, fruits, leaves and roots are all sources of sucrose. No, this one is wrong. Okay, because leaves, they are the one that yes, they source sucrose, but some of them no, they do not. So the fruits are a source of sucrose and the flowers are a sink. No, the fruits, they are a source of, they are also a sink. Okay, so the real source is the leaf actually. So the leaves are a source of sucrose and the fruits are a sink. This one is correct. This is the one that I explained just now. So the answer is C. Okay, so question 9. What is an advantage of having a double circulatory system? Let's see for each of the option. It uses less energy because blood flows through the heart only once in each circuit around the body. This is wrong. Concentration gradient of solutes and gases are kept low. This is also wrong. Deoxygenated blood and oxygenated blood are separated to allow high rate of oxygen supply to the tissue. This could be correct. It maintains high pressure blood flow to the lung and low pressure blood flow to the body. This is wrong. This should be the other way around. Okay, so the answer is C. Question 20. The diagram shows the external structure of the human heart. Which part of is blocked in the coronary heart disease? So it's blocked in the coronary arteries. Coronary arteries is located around, it's around the heart basically, but not inside, like the vena cava, not part of this. It's near the muscles of the heart. So the answer is B. Question 21. One of the symptoms of disease cholera is diarrhea. This is due to the water loss by osmosis caused by cholera toxin. So what is the effect of cholera toxin that results in diarrhea? So let's see for A. So secretion of chloride ions out of the small intestine, lowering the water potential. No, this is not. The chloride ions supposed to go inside, not outside. Okay. Secretion of chloride ions out of the small intestine, raising the water potential. This is wrong, because remember, chloride ions supposed to go in. Secretion of chloride ions into the small intestine, lowering the water potential. Yes. Okay. So why is this the case? Because when the chloride ion goes in, right, just take it as your body has an increase of solute already. So when this happens, when they have increase of solutes, more water will be coming out, because remember, you are losing salts at the same time. The salts could be retained, the water can start to leave because inside starts to get more higher solute concentration. Okay, so the answer is C. Question 22. Which statements about immunity is correct? Okay, so a part of the antibody molecule has the same shape as the antigen it acts on. Wrong, this is not the correct answer. They say babies develop passive immunity from the antibodies they receive in breast milk. So this one sounds correct. I just put that B. Phagocytes produce antibodies. This is wrong. This should be lymphocytes. And vaccine contains weakened antibody. No. Weakened pathogens or virus. Okay. So question 23. What are the functions of the diaphragm and the cilia in the human gas exchange system? So diaphragm will contract. Okay, let's see for each of these. Contracts to cause breathing in. Yes, that's correct. Relaxes to cause breathing out. So you can see that now it's either A or D. Cilia, they carry mucus to the throat, or it produces mucus. Okay, so Cilia doesn't produce mucus. The goblet cell produces mucus. Okay, so the answer is A. Question 24. Vigorous exercise can cause an oxygen debt. Which processes removes the oxygen debt? So basically, when you have oxygen debt, it means that there's also lactic acid in the liver at the same time. So how are you going to return back to normal to make sure that oxygen comes back to you normally, like during resting position? Is by undergoing aerobic respiration so that of the lactic acid in the liver. So the lactic acid can be removed and then you can start to breathe in normally. Okay, so the answer is A. Question 25. In healthy people, which substance is completely reabsorbed into the blood from the kidney nephrons? So healthy people is always glucose, because if you did not absorb glucose back into the body, you have diabetes. That's a sign to show that you have diabetes. Okay. Question 26. What would be the pupil size and the lens shape of a person reading a mobile phone text message in a brightly lit room? So this is a situation where you're seeing things close, not far away. So what happens? So your pupil size will become smaller because you're seeing things nearer, and your lens shape will be fatter. So it's almost like it's working antagonistically like that. So smaller because you just need to focus in front of you, what's in front of you, and the lens shape is fatter. It's just to adjust lah. So you are looking at this position like that. So the answer is C. Question 27. What describes how the body maintains a constant internal temperature on a hot day? So it's either vasoconstriction or vasodilation. So if this case on a hot day, it has to be vasodilation. So vasoconstriction is during the cold days. So now let's see which is the correct answer. So vasodilation, you are dilating, means you open up wider. Okay, so it increases blood flow to the skin surface capillaries. This one's correct. When you vasodilate, of course, the diameter of the vessel, it becomes larger. So when it's become larger, more blood are able to flow inside. So this is wrong. So the answer is C. Question 28. What would lead to a decrease in blood glucose concentration? Decrease in blood glucose concentration is because there's a increased release of insulin. Okay, why? Because insulin's role is to help to lower the blood glucose concentration and take in the glucose from the blood to convert into glucagon and then store it in the body basically. Okay, let's go to question 29. Which statement about antibiotics is correct? So antibiotics do not affect bacteria but kill viruses. This is wrong. Antibiotics do not affect bacterial viruses. This is also wrong. Antibiotics kill bacteria and kill viruses. This is also wrong. Antibiotics kill bacteria but do not affect viruses. This is correct. Remember that antibiotics is always on bacteria, not on viruses. Okay. So question 30. The diagram shows a couple of a flower just after pollination. So what is the name of the part labeled X? So this one is actually indicating the pollen tube. Okay. Question 31. The table shows the percentage of sperm with different abnormalities in samples from a person with normal fertility and two people with low fertility. So you can see that the person with normal fertility, there's 2 percentage of the sperm with no acrosome, 11% of the sperm with deformed flagella, and 4 with fewer mitochondria. So P with low fertility, there is more of the sperm with no acrosome, while the person Q with low fertility has a sperm with fewer mitochondria and also deformed flagella. So what causes the low fertility of in person P and person Q? So you kind of use the result from here and here to deduce why is it not happening. So you can see that they have no acrosome. If they say they have no acrosome, it means that they do not have the necessary digestive enzymes to digest the jelly coat of the egg cell. So A and B seems to be correct now. C and D is out. Person Q, you can see that person Q has percentage of sperm with fewer mitochondria and deformed flagellum. So you can see that the most of it is they also have fewer mitochondria, meaning that fewer mitochondria means they are unable to propel, they're unable to move. So the answer is kind of B already. Okay, so the answer is B. So which word is used to describe stem cells? So stem cells, they are like the very first origins of all of our cells. Why is it that it is? Because it is unspecialized. So unspecialized is your answer. Question 33. The graph shows the concentration of 4 hormones during the menstrual cycle. Which line represents progesterone? Progesterone always happens at almost the end, or you may say after 16 days to the end of the month is where it rises. It's usually the highest in the graph. So in this case, you can see is B. This is progesterone. Question 34. The pedigree diagram shows the pattern of inheritance of a genetic disorder in 4 families. The genetic disorder is not sex-linked, which pedigree diagram must prove the genetic disorder must be caused by the dominant allele. Okay, so this question is gonna be a little bit tricky. So we're gonna show you a few things that how are you going to solve this. Okay, so the question has tell you that this genetic diagram is not sex-linked. When the genetic diagram is not sex-linked, right, it means that there could be an equal ratio of boy and girl getting the disorder. If the question says that it is sex-linked, boys have a higher chance to get the disorder than female. Female is usually the carrier. Okay, so you must understand that when it's not sex-linked, it means that there is an equal ratio of boy and girl contracting the disease. Now, they have asked you to find out which of it proves that the genetic disorder must be caused by a dominant allele. Dominant allele in this pedigree diagram, it means that it does not skip a generation. Meaning if the parent generation has it, the children generation also will have it because it's dominant. Okay, so let's see which one that it kind of shows that that is happening. Okay, so we can remove C, is because C doesn't even make sense at all. Okay, so let's see for A. Okay, so for A, right, you can see that there's one male getting it here, there's also one male, and then in the result you got one female getting it. So this one is a little bit odd. It's because imagine that because it's gonna be dominant allele, right, we have to know that that this is a very unlikely chance to have it also. Okay, and then when you want to make sure that it's caused by the dominant allele still. Okay, so this one is definitely not the correct answer for A. For B, right, okay, also when you see a genetic diagram, right, you must see that it has to be one whole circle. It's like this is the first generation, this is the second generation, this is the third generation. It has to be continuous. So for this case, B is not acceptable because we don't want this foreign. It has to run from the original line, like this one. So in order for this, if this has the genetic disorder, then this is a correct answer. But for this case, remember in pedigree diagram, we always look, it has to be linked from the first one, second, and the third generation. Okay, so we have ruled out C, now is D. D, you can see that it's linking, both got, and then it continues. So this one can be a probable good answer, but also we have to check that every generation also has it. Okay, so this is already pretty much suitable to see why already. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. Okay, so why did I say that A is wrong? Okay, you can try to find out this by drawing the Punnett square and see. Okay, if you want to say that this is dominant, right, the male one that has got it is HH, and then here they got H, small h. So for this one, you can see that it gives you HH, 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 HH. It should be kind of all of them, or it could be this. Okay, so this one for me is not really suitable because it has to be a mix of it lah. So the correct answer for this is D. This is a very tricky question. Okay, so just feel free to ask me in the comment section below any of your different stance that I can have a look at. Okay, thank you so much. So question 35. What are the correct statements about meiosis? So meiosis, they are from 2N to N. So they produces genetically identical cells? Nope. Okay, and they involve in repair of damaged tissue. This is also. So the answer for this is D. Question 26. The photograph shows a species of fish called the leafy sea dragon. Leafy sea dragon lives in areas of the sea where seaweed is present. So which statement explain how natural selection caused the leafy sea dragon to species to develop? So leafy sea dragon that look like seaweed were better adapted to their environment. So this one is correct. Okay. Leafy sea dragons that survive pass on the allele for their appearance to their offspring. Correct. So humans selected leafy sea dragon that look like seaweed. So this is wrong because they are talking about natural selection. So the answer is B. Question 37. What is the main source of energy input into biological system? So the answer is the sun. Question 38. Which organism removes nitrate ions from the cell? Removing nitrate ions is by converting nitrate ions back to nitrogen gas. So this is by the denitrifying bacteria and plants. Question 39. What are two reasons of organisms becoming endangered? So one of them, they are habitat destruction. Monitoring, education is not. Pollution, yes. And captive breeding program is also not. They are the rest, which are monitoring, education and captive breeding programs. They are help to prevent endangerment of species. So the answer is A. Question 40, the last one. What is an example of the use of genetic modification in agriculture? So A, choosing the cattle to breed so that alleles for high milk yield will be passed to their offspring. So this is wrong. This is actually artificial selection. Increasing food production by using insecticides to improve quality and yield. This is also wrong. Inserting genes into crop plants to improve the nutritional qualities of the plant. This is correct. Selected crop plants with desirable characteristics. This is also wrong. So from this keyword, it's very easy. You just see genetic. You just find the word genes, inserting genes, anything, insert gene. You know it's genetic modification already. So the answer is C. Okay, so thank you so much. This is the end of the question and the end of this paper. So we'll see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.